Okay, like Google make it.
I like the way you twerk, yeah, no diggity. I gotta bag it up now. Chase, I blame you for that. Let's just go back a little bit and see how we pronounce that.
Okay, like Google make it.
To be worrying in PSET 5 so much about asymptotic running time, like the
Asymptotic. That's the word to describe birthdays, at least for me. And this will come back full circle, I promise. So, one of my favorite birthday memories of all time is in California. Teleprompter issues. I know what my favorite birthday is. Anyways, it's actually my favorite birthday memories. It would be my last birthday in California, at least then, so I would have been turning 9, and it so markedly contrasts with the first, at least in California. The first one was a fest of sorts, a festival, a festivus for the rest of us, in honor of me. So much so, I remember my mom sending me upstairs to take a nap while she finished preparing everything, and I remember being all cryy and whiny because then I had to be awakened from said nap, and if you've ever tried to awaken me from anything, you know I'm not a happy person. Anyways, fast forward 4 years and turning 9, and it was a much more subdued affair. I can't remember all the boys in the picture, and I wish I could find the picture for y'all, but my parents are in the process of moving, and so we don't know where anything is. It's down at the family house. And I also think that was also the time that Michael fell into a cactus. I think my mom was with Chris at a track meet. Or, no, football game. Probably, seeing as how it was November. Anyways, it was 3 or 4 of my best friends at the time, myself and my younger brother Michael, who was only 19 months old at the time, and my dad. We didn't do anything special. We just hung out, and there are pictures of us with cake smashed all over our faces, and thinking about it, it reminds me so much of that scene from Hook, where, you know, the cake scene, where, like, it's all magical and just colorful and everything. It was, and I remember, too, like, it was the golden hour at that time of day. So the light was just incredible, and my dad was there, my friends were there, 3 or 4 of us. It was just simple, and it felt infinite. I love simple and infinite moments. That feeling where you just feel at peace. It's not happiness, though. You definitely feel happy because I mean, you just can't help but feel happy. But even it can come after a moment of incredible sadness, too, where you just... It's that infinite moment of feeling alive. It's just this balance of, like, at this moment, I am at one. Yesterday was wonderfully balanced. I got a few texts and I wasn't overwhelmed on social media. In fact, no one said anything, which is the way I like it. So, scrub this from remembering. This year, disabling everything seemed to have worked. I will acknowledge that day. I will acknowledge that day every single day except the actual day. Asymptotic. And no, it doesn't quite fit the definition, but I love the idea of asymptotes ever since I learned about them in math class. So I'm not a math person at all, but I'm not a math person at all. However, my friend Eric Cho and I growing up, he majored in physics, in math, and I majored in the humanities, and we did this really cool thing where, like, I went to one of his classes, he went to one of my classes, and we asked teachers about it. This was our sophomore year, and it was the coolest thing. And look, after they were approaching the midterms, I was like, I'm just gonna excuse myself out because I hear everything you're saying, and it was really, I highly recommend that. It's like a class exchange going across the aisle, so to speak. But later on, as he was finishing up his degree, I would accompany him to his math labs, and just hearing him talk about theories, unsolved theories, and theorems, and all of that, there is an art to it, and I'm not a math person, but I have such a deep, profound respect for it. And he, in turn, has a deep, profound respect for the arts, and it was a beautiful friendship. Still is. Don't get to see as much of each other as we would like, but it is what it is. Anyways, so with asymptotes, it's about this thing approaching but never actually reaching it, and then appearing on the other side. I actually don't know how asymptotes work, so I'm gonna have to have on my friend Jeff, who knows so much about math, apparently. Chase also said he was good with numbers too, so. But anyways, this moment of transformation and upheaval around the central point that can never be reached. You know, I think of a Heartline monitor that we used to sing, the bum 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 bum, that thing we used to sing. That spike is, at least I think it is, an example of an asymptote. Someone who does bridge math and humanities could describe this so much better than I could. But that's how birthdays feel to me. I will be on. You know, when I mean on, I will be Patrick, I will be Ava, I will be Patrick, I will be all those things. I will be on for 364 or sometimes 365 days out of the year. But on one day, I don't want to be on. I literally want nothing else but to be me. I don't know if that makes any sense, but on my birthday, I just want to focus on my needs and my wants. I will give myself 365 days a year. But on my birthday, I don't want to have to give. And all of that still in line with self-care, you know, taking moments for you and all that. And that's why, for me, my birthday is a recharging day. It's where I can gather and reflect and just exist in balance. And yesterday was perfect. It was sublime. I tell people I enjoy working, entertainment type working, that kind of working, on holidays and birthdays and whatsoever. And yesterday, I taped an interview with a new friend. We both share a love of Beyonce, writing, acting, and film, although if you listen to future episodes, because we taped yesterday, I need to edit them, but apparently my love for Beyonce is debatable. So, I don't know if we're ever going to come to any sort of resolution on this, but look, I've written and spoken treatises to you on how I feel about Beyonce, and it's just never enough. So, look, we're gonna drop it. Anyway, somehow, Eddie let it slip yesterday that it was my birthday, but it was all fine nonetheless. Jason and I, we drank wine in the studio and talked about writing and acting and gender and race and sexuality, and it was a beautiful moment of connecting and waxing philosophically in my favorite French term, the salon. And that's what I kind of feel this has turned into. And singing drunkenly, including a duet of When You Believe by Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey that I don't know if I'll ever let leave the vault. But look, you know me, and maybe you don't, I don't know. But when I get drunk, I love to sing. I love to sing all the time, but I do it just for me, again. And anyways, Jason left, and then Eddie called up to Nakatos. I never know if I'm pronouncing it right, but I'm going with that one. I used to say Nakatos, but that just makes me think of nachos. And we made a reservation for, and also like the Mikado, so I think that's why I want to say Nakatos. I don't know. Someone tell me the right pronunciation. Anyways, we made a reservation for 7:30 after he called up there and said, you have to make a reservation, you can't just walk in, and you need to wear your mask and all that. And so then I talked with Mike, and it was like 7:30 would be perfect. Talked on the phone with my mom and my dad, and usually the only phone calls I will answer on my on my day of days, that shall not be named, usually the only people, my mom, my dad, Eddie, and Michael. My aunt and uncle call, I will answer for them too. And then I got some texts from friends throughout the day, and it was sublime. It was sublime. And we went and ate Japanese hibachi, where they took our temperature and had barriers set up between the different group seatings, even though we were still all spread out. And we wore our masks except while eating at the hibachi grill, and I had filet mignon and chicken. Of course I did. And the universe felt calm and steady, and I sat there grateful for the life I have, the life I live, and the friends I get to have in my life. I'm just extra hormonal these days. I just am. Yeah. You all contributed so much to what I call a petite train day. A day away from court, allowed only in by my permission. Maria and I share a very kindred spirit, and while I'm not sure exactly why, I've told Eddie and Clorinda that I'm pretty sure in a past life I had to have been a French noble person, because I feel a very strong energy whenever I go to Luxembourg Gardens. But anyways, my dearest Marie, I still think of you often. And just to let you all in on that, back when I ran my blog, Bearing the Lightness of Being, I wrote it in epistolary form because while writing in one's diary or journal is tough, writing letters gives you someone to direct your message to and makes writing incredibly easier. It's the same with this vlog I'm deigning to call a talk show. And you all are kind enough to indulge me in my bit of whimsy. It's easier to talk into the void, but sometimes it's nice knowing the void will occasionally talk back instead of just echo. Anyways, yeah. I will close out by saying I love you all. As always, keep bearing the lightness of being. And thank you for subscribing to the podcast. You can go to anchor.fm and find me under The Ava Davis Show. You can also find this show on Google Podcast or Apple Podcast. And I see that some of y'all are listening, so y'all are awesome. Y'all rock. Y'all rock so much. Oh my goodness. Do y'all know what's approaching? The 100th episode. Oh my God. Let me just calm down for a second. I have tried to keep track of it, and luckily, I'm gonna have to go by the book of, but 2 reviews, all of us. And I am approaching 100 videos, so yeah. So, watch this space. It's coming sometime next week, the 100th episode. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but we're gonna do things! Maybe, maybe not. Anyways, I love you all. Keep bearing the lightness of being, and let's find out if I close this episode by bringing you some more of the episode of Chase. I think I will. There's like 10 minutes left in the second part of our interview. So let's make this interesting, shall we? Okay. Alright. Alright, y'all. It's me again, and I have on my dear friend Chase Wolf from Spartanburg, South Carolina. We work together on the Laramie Project, and he's just an all-around amazing person and a phenomenal actor and also phenomenal singer. And yes, I am hyping you up so much.
Yeah,
but
you're bringing me up here, and they're just expectations are gonna drop.
Okay, but what I'm gonna invite everybody to do is go on to YouTube and what was the name of the program that you sang with?
It's on Upstate Sings, which
Upstate
is
Sings.
Tim St. Clair's running that. He's during the pandemic, he's providing a safe place for artists to continue to work their art, work their craft, practice things, and get song on film. Which for those that are just beginning, which is a lot of especially young actors in the Upstate, it's great to have a reel to start. That's how I book gigs, especially with pandemic. Things are going to go virtual if they're already virtual so fast. So Upstate Sings. I've got songs on there that I'm proud of, songs that I'm not proud of, but they're all available, and I have no control over that. So.
They're all amazing. I'm going to let you know, I think you already know the one that really hooked me in.
Tennessee Whiskey.
Used to spend my nights at the barroom, liquor was the only love I've known. But you rescued me from reaching for the bottle, brought me back from being too far gone.
Okay, yes, it was definitely Tennessee Whiskey. I love that song so much. And then also, you singing Waving Through a Window.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I've learned to slam on the brake before I even turn the key, before I make the mistake, before I lead with the worst of me. Start with stars in our eyes, we start believing that we belong, but every sun doesn't rise, and no one tells you where you went wrong. Step out of the sun if you keep getting burned. Step out of the sun because you've learned, because learned. On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? 'Cause I'm tapping on the glass, waving through a window. I try.
Yeah, so number one, your version of Tennessee Whiskey now replaced the whatever version was before in my head.
Oh, stop it.
And also, every time I listen to Waving Through a Window, Rich has been a lot lately. It's like, you know what version I also need to go listen to?
That's so fun.
Like,
I'm actually really honored by that. That's a really fun. Yeah.
you have an amazing, incredible voice.
Well,
and
thank you.
Yeah.
I put a lot of work into it. I was one of those that it had to be cultivated more. I've had to work. You're always cultivating and getting
Right.
better, but I just had, things that I'm listening to. I was like, oh, I'm going flat. I just had bad habits I had to break, and so the best way to do it is to jump in and work the industry, and people tell you, and you get notes, and you learn, and you just keep correcting till.
Isn't that hands-on feedback the best? They're like, you
Really
can take
is.
classes, but when you have that pressure thing, and I always tell people the whole example of like in acting, like, are you reaching for the shelf? Like, are you reaching for the shelf? And like, when you're on set, it's like, you got to get to that shelf. You've got to get to that shelf.
You have to get there, and I always find I like the challenge and I like taking it, but every time I go into a job, I always feel subpar. Like I always feel like I'm not on the same level as everyone. But by the end, I learn and I grow so much, and I love taking that challenge of coming in and being like, this isn't my strong suit. I'll give it the best I can, and by the end, I've learned something that I'll never be able to let go. I've gained a little bit of confidence in myself and my abilities, and just like what I'm confident enough to tell people, I can do this. As opposed to just being like, sure, we'll figure it out. It's
Right.
like, no, I can do that. I am good at that, and trying to tote that line between like humility or reality. I always tell people, especially starting in the industry, I'm like, hey, just please have a realistic opinion and approach of where you stand.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be confident, and it's okay, but don't be overconfident and say you can do something you cannot do.
Right.
or people, you'll ruin yourself. But also, like, if you can tell yourself where you are realistically, it will get you through the mind game that is what we do.
Isn't it a fucking mind? Like, it's...
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
mind game, because 9 times out of 10 it's a no, and you've got to know why, or at least be able to like give yourself like you have to create your own closure
Right.
in certain situations, or move on to the next thing quickly and forget about it.
That's been
But,
my tactic.
Yeah, exactly. But I think if you have a realistic approach of who you are as a performer and where you stack up and where you stand, and it will, one, help you understand the industry as a whole,
Mhm.
which can only better you, and two, just like the sanity, the peace of mind that is so. Artists, we're just so self-conscious all the time anyway.
All the time.
Yeah, I
Like,
just feel like that's one of the best ways to buffer that and to keep yourself grounded,
I always... Shit. I had my thought and then I lost it, so... Acting is a fucking mind game. Yes, it is.
Yes.
No, it's like you're selling a product and the product is you, and you can't undersell that. You can't oversell that product, because then you're raising expectations that can't be met. Like,
Yeah, like you started this.
right. It's just like, oh, can you deliver 10,000 books tomorrow? It's like, yes, I sure can. And then you bring in one book and like,
This is all I got. I'm sorry.
they're like, you promised 10,000. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh, that's the best I can do. But yeah, I feel like I can give you 2 books and you bring in 10. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of, I don't, and also, you got to balance. You can't undersell yourself
Yeah.
either, or you'll lose out on opportunities. So it is a balance, and I guess that's where I say have a realistic approach of what you can do, what you can't do, and also what you're willing to do. What you're willing to, it's okay to say, nah, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable with that, and
That's
actually.
the most important thing to learn, I think.
It really is, and people actually, you think they won't, but they'll respect you more for it. Because at the end of the day, you got to remember, everyone that's doing anything, we're all humans.
Right.
None of us know what we're doing. We're all figuring it out with each other, with the help of each other, and so vulnerability breeds vulnerability, and it works in the casting room too.
Sometimes I have to pause and I have to go like, crap, I'm an adult. I didn't learn how to do any of this stuff. How am I doing anything? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And especially, my friend and I always joke, like, during taping auditions, we're like, but what do we do with our hands?
Exactly.
So that's how I feel every day, like, whether I'm at my job or anything. It's like,
Yeah.
what do I do with my hands? Where do they go? And
That's how I felt. So filming the Laramie Project was one of the few times that I've done film, and it's the first one I've watched back and been like, oh, I did okay there.
you did wonderfully.
Well, thank
by
you.
the way.
But I didn't know what to do with my hands, and so they put me behind the bar, and I'm looking around. I was like, I'm allowed to use all this, right? They're like, sure. So if you watch, I have a rag that I do everything with.
I noticed that.
Every scene I was like, all right, I gotta do something different with the rag, and then I was like, okay, this scene is gonna be my hat that I fidget with, and then I almost picked up some scissors. There were some scissors in the cup next to me, and I was like, what can I do with those?
Dangerous to play with on camera.
Oh, I know, but I just was like, I gotta fidget, I gotta do something. But the irony is, I mean, someone always said, when they're having trouble figuring out the character, they're like, I just can't get this, and they put on a costume, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I get it. And I feel like for that scene, I mean, I think the one character I'm proud of in all of that was Matt Galloway.
Yeah.
I think he just like came through, and I kind of had a feel for what he was. And then as soon as I got him behind the bar, gave him a rag and a hat, and just like, I don't know, it kind of all fell into place. It was one of those like, oh, okay, I get him, and just kind of relaxed. And I've never the transition from theater stage acting to film. I actually think the gap is lessening. I think contemporary theater is a little bit not as big and campy, but where everyone's striving for that more intimate, that more sincere, vulnerable moment.
Yeah.
Like Dear Evan Hansen. I mean, I think to be able to sing Words Fail snotting on stage and still pull in an entire audience with just subtleties and simplicity, which theater wasn't that, it used to be so big and grand. So I'm trying to find that balance and reel things in and figure out kind of where to go.
Yeah.
But I think that Laramie Project, ironically enough, like helped me do a project I thought was just going to be a fun side gig. I ended up learning a lot from, which is the best. That's how it should be.
I felt like approaching the Laramie Project, I was working with all of these really talented people, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm out of my league.
You were fantastic.
Thank you for that. But
no,
yeah,
my favorite of yours, and actually I remember, I haven't told you this, but I watched you in rehearsals when you went into We Are Them, or We Are Those People.
Zubaida.
Yeah, the
We Are
Zubaida.
Those People.
Yeah, and I would watch you in rehearsals before we started turning off cameras, and I was like, I don't know if she's gonna make it back for the next scene. Like,
Wow.
like I watched you go there, and I was like, wow, she took the chance, she went there, and it was beautiful, and every time chills.
Well, thank you.
So yeah, I don't think I've ever told you that, but I just remember watching, going, wow. Also, I haven't told you this. When we had our meeting with with Ben,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about things. I was like, I'd love to play Galloway. I really like him. I said, however, I also think Ava could kill Galloway. And
Really?
I was just like, I think she can bring something different and quirky to the character that no one's expecting. And so when we went to the audition, I was like, if she delivers it, I really want to, I'll bow out. Like, if that character shines through, I was like, I'll bow out. Because I just felt like there was some, like a sassiness almost that she could have brought to him that would have, and I was like, I mean, I'd like to see it if you're down. And he's like, okay, we'll see. But yeah.
Okay, interesting. That is so interesting, because as soon as you read from Matt Gallo, I was like, you're it. Like, you are definitely, and it was such an interesting casting process. Hold on, I'm going to stop us right there
Okay.
because that camera, it hates me. So
Okay.
I'm going to reset everything. We're going to continue this conversation.
Yes, deal.
What are we going to play on the outro? Let's find a song. Oh, I think it's going to be No Diggity. That would be the one to play, wouldn't it? This is getting complicated. No diggity. I like the way you twerk it, no diggity. Bag it up now. I like the way you twerk it, no diggity. All right.